Ready? And sound rolling. Sound speed.
S.P.D. emergency! Power Rangers, S.P.D. Power Rangers to the rescue! Power Rangers, S.P.D. Power Rangers to the rescue! Heroes on your side, heroes for all time, out to save the universe. No matter where you are, if it's near or far, you can always call out Space Patrol.
I'm with Chris Violette, Sky Tate, Blue SPD, Red, actually Red SPD.
Red now Shadow though.
Oh, that's right. Shadow's the badass character, dude.
Bridge took over Red, and I became. Birdie got promoted, or Birdie left. Kruger got promoted, and I got promoted to Kruger's position.
That's a lot to know about your season, more so than a lot of people.
See what I'm saying? It's all up here. It's all up here. Lots in books.
Which color did you like best?
I'm actually, my favorite color is blue. You know, the whole season, the way it played out with me being second in command, I kind of liked it because there was a responsibility for him. Right. You know what I mean? I could be the strict one. The eyes weren't on me all the time. But yeah, it made for like a really good storyline and how Jax and Sky's characters and their relationship grew. So yeah, I'm a blue guy. I'm a blue guy.
First of all, I really dug your season specifically because it was the season that not all the Rangers necessarily got along really in the beginning.
There was and Sky didn't get along at all. I don't think we got along for the entire show. Yeah, it wasn't just the beginning; it was the whole season.
Which was great though, because that was something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird. I mean, because right when Kruger kind of mentioned that, we were bringing on these like randoms from the street, and then obviously it came to found that he knew like. And to promote him as Red Ranger, I was like, this guy's not cadet material. I've been following the book since day one, and I think that's why there was a lot of a lot of hostility I had towards him. But eventually, once he proved himself, and I mean, that's what I said. Like, at the end, you can really see when when he lends me his morpher and I become Red Ranger to fight. Like that's when our friendship comes full circle. So
well, here's the thing: any good story has to have conflict. So the whole idea was each character represented kind of a personality that you might identify with. And Jack was kind of like the devil-may-care street kid who, just always by the seat of his pants pulled things off, but was in control. Where Sky was kind of the character that was like by the book, we follow the rules and get things right. So it wasn't that they necessarily didn't get along. It was just they had two very strong points of view of how to do things. And in the world, that's how people are. So part of the overall arc of SPD was for them learning, for Jack to learn sometimes you need a plan, and for Sky to learn that sometimes you got to go by instinct and not follow the manual. And when they finally crossed those bridges, they were able to become A-Squad.
Great answer. Let's talk about A-Squad for a second. First female Red Ranger. Was that hard to get past the old execs in there?
I mean, it was so hard. It was something right off the bat. When in the first interview meeting I had for the show, they were like, "What would you do differently to make Power Rangers fresh and new?" I was like, "Girl Red Ranger." And they were like, "Okay, next interview," And I'm like, "No, think about it. It's like it makes sense in this modern world. Like, why not?" And that's why basically when I finally was able to do it, it was only with A-Squad because it was not going to happen in B-Squad, like in the main characters. So we were able to finally sneak it in there, but I did have a meeting with the Sentai guys, and they said, I was like, "Hey, guess what I'm going to do?" And they were just like, "If you do that, we will never work with you again." And I was like, "Come on, we gotta shake things up a bit." So I went for it. Of course, I take a lot of heat for ultimately finally having a girl Red Ranger, and then she's a bad guy.
Okay, I'm filthy, cranky, and my new shoes are trashed. Do you really want to mess with me? SPD, emergency!
Speaking of women, you had the most badass women characters of any Power Ranger season at all. Of your doing?
I mean, obviously we had a whole writing team and everything, but if you look at any of my work, like if you look at my comic books, my favorite thing is, like a badass woman, you know what I mean? So, whether it's like things I always idolize, like Princess Leia, or, Sarah Connor, or whatever, it's like, I didn't like the fact that in previous seasons, a lot of times, even though the Rangers had abilities, the girls were mostly there to be pretty. I was like, this was an academy, and these girls had to pull their weight just like anybody else. And I wanted to put the message out there that, anyone can become a badass if they put the work in. So luckily I had two badass actresses that pulled it off,
I feel like Sid was similar to me. So I love to be girly and playful, but I'm a strong female. So I really enjoyed playing Sid as that. So
Are you a singer as well?
not in real life. You don't want to hear me sing. No.
You had a great episode, the one where you kill your best friend. Talk to me about that.
Everyone's been asking me about that. You know what? I just did a panel, and I had my answer was, it's when no matter what relationship, like, if you got best friends back home, you got best friends everywhere. I mean, I've gotten to some, even when we were on set, we saw each other, 12 hours a day filming, and then 6 hours sleep, and then 12 hours again. You get on each other's nerves. I've gotten to plenty of tough scuffles with my best friends, but if you're true friends, usually friendship always overcomes the whatever else you got going on. But to actually end that episode the way it was kind of like, it couldn't be avoided. You go up against SPD, what's gonna happen?
Pretty much what you said is, you killed him. I mean,
yeah. I don't want to say the K word, but he ended up 6 feet under.
Well, that did come a little bit, but it was inspired by the Sentai footage because there was a similar thing, and Bruce really took the helm on that whole kind of arc that was going on. We wanted to show a lot more of the complexity of Sky, and even though he was like by the book, it was like we wanted to throw situations at him that would like kind of force him to bend some rules, and then kind of feel like he suffered the consequences of not playing by the rules, and that was a really good example. But I also really wanted to put real life messages out there, and it's like, sometimes with friendships, like people live and die for their friends, but sometimes friendship as you grow, they're not always the healthiest thing for you. So you have to kind of like update and look and be like, who really is on my side, who has my back, and who's out for their own agenda. And kids might not understand that at the time they see it, but years later they'll be like, oh, okay, we didn't make it where Sky was kind of like a jerk about it. Like, it really weighed heavily on his conscience, but his friend was not on the up and up, and he had to look the reality in the eye as opposed to just the bond.
I want to talk to you about Graceland.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going great. Episode 12 airs this Wednesday. It's been going really well. I love doing the show, and we're just crossing our fingers for our third season.
Where you guys shooting that?
Miami.
Nice.
Yeah,
You got some nice scenery out in Miami, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
He knows what I mean.
I get you. I understand.
I'm actually a burlesque dancer.
Where?
I dance all over Los Angeles, and I've been to Texas and all over the place. Yeah, my burlesque name is Miss May.
Miss May. Miss May.
Let's see. Well, are you guys familiar with Minecraft? So I've been working with those guys. I design their conventions, and then I'm working on a show that is, I'm writing and directing and creating everything. It's a fantasy series that's all kind of like Dark Crystal puppets. And I just directed a 360-degree movie that you'll be able to view like in virtual reality. It actually stars Christina and Azim from Megaforce. So I love my Rangers. I got to keep pulling Rangers into my projects.